What's up guys, it's Sean from Window Tint Warriors, and today in this vehicle specific video we're going to be tinting a 2020 Nissan Altima, and we're going to be doing all sides and the rear window. Don't forget to comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you like this content. Let's get started with the outside prep, then we'll go with the inside weather stripping removal, and then the inside prep. All right, now that we have the outside prep, the dryer sheets on the back window, let's go ahead and pop the weather strippings out of the lower inside section of the doors. Then we can follow up with the inside prep. Now these weather strips are very easy to remove. All we have to do is remove one 10mm bolt behind the handle cover here, and the panel will pop back and we'll have full access to the weather strip. So what we're gonna do is take a hook tool, grab this plastic cover from the back side, pull it forward or towards you, and it'll release. So the way this goes back on, and the reason we grab it from the back side, is this little tab goes in first and then pushes on. So the way we need to remove it is the back first and then pull away. And then we'll go ahead and remove that 10mm. It also has a Phillips head in the center. After we get that out, we can simply pull back on the top of the door panel, across the top. The whole top releases. Grab the weather stripping. It's very dense and tight, so just get a good grip, pull straight up and out. Let's go ahead and take the back one off too. Pull back on the top of the panel. On the back door, I like to pull from where the screw was first, release that, and then work my way back. You do not have to release this rear section all the way, but if it makes it easier for you, it's just two clips here. And pull back, lift the weather stripping up and out. Be careful not to bend the door panel too much. You can see it starts to fold here when you bend it. If you fold that too much, you'll get a white mark from the panel bending too much and the plastic overextending. So that's all good. Let's go ahead and do the inside prep, and then we'll lay out the bulk material. Move on to the back door. Just going to lay the bulk material out on the rear door and the front door, and then I'll proceed with hand cutting from the front door first. All right, now that we have our material all laid out, let's start cutting this. The first thing we're going to do with the front door is line up the bottom edge. Nice straight edge, no curves. We're going to cut the front first. Shift it forward 1/4 inch, keeping that bottom edge lined up. Mount it in place. Cut the back edge. Cut the excess material off. You can use that for the quarter glass window, I believe. Let's give it a try. Perfect. We'll just lay that there, cut the excess off of it so it doesn't pull it off the window, and we'll come back to this when we do the rear window. So right now we have the bottom lined up, the front shifted forward 1/4 inch, and the back cut exactly in place. We can go ahead and roll this down and cut the top edge. Mount the top in place, cut the top edge. Do a continuation of the front and the rear, where we didn't cut all the way to the top, using the gold card as a straight edge. We have a little nick there, but I don't want to sacrifice cutting too much material off. I'll leave that little nick there and just do a continuation based on how it was. We'll do the front top, rounding out to the front. The back top corner will clean up really tight. The bottom corners will clean up tight as well. Just creating small radiuses so there's no sharp edges. Once we have all the edges cleaned, we can lay the material on the outside, and then we'll do the spray squeegee spray. So we're going to mount this in place across the top. Remove any residue across the top of the window with your hand. Spray, squeegee. We'll rinse down the back, across the bottom, the front, and mist in the middle, and we can grab the material. And just like any other front door window, bottom loading method, we're gonna get that front bottom corner in first, work its way down, keeping the back away, lay the top into place, pushing it behind the seal, get the back edge down, work it uniformly into place, tap the window down a little bit to see the complete top edge. Get that nice tight gap. Once we have it in position, we'll mist it up, mount it in place. Then we'll mist it up again and do a harder press. Overlapping strokes. Down the back edge. And then I'll push into the top corners, top sides with the gray lid coat card. Making sure the film isn't moving as I'm pushing it. And once the film is mostly squeegeed out, you did a couple passes, we're gonna push out the top edge with the gray lid coat card wrapped in a blue hawk towel with the heat gun. Give it a check from the outside, wipe it down, heat it up, make sure that top edge is sealed, especially the corners. Use a little chiseler with heat on the outside, just to push those corners down to make sure they're stuck nicely. We don't have any issues with peeling. Make sure the top edge isn't overhanging. Give it a final heat on the inside. I'm only doing this excessive heating because it is colder out here. A couple little tiny dust specks. I'll work them out before they become visible. You can roll the window up, spray the bottom half, squeegee it out. Then we'll go down the sides with the easy reach to get into the bottom corners. Mist the bottom edge again. And we're gonna use the gray lid coat card without anything wrapped around it with the heat gun to seal up that bottom edge. Once we have that sealed up, we'll give the door panel a wipe down. We'll wipe down the window. Wipe down the outside of the window. Give it a quick look over. Make sure there's no contamination, no creases, and no bubbles, air bubbles, water bubbles. And we can move on to the back window. All right, so with the back window, same thing. It's a very standard vehicle. We'll put this quarter glass window to the side. We'll line up the bottom edge. It is a straight bottom edge. We're gonna cut the back edge first. So you wanna make sure you have enough material hanging over. We'll cut this back edge about an inch from the top. Don't wanna cut all the way to the top. We'll shift it back a quarter of an inch. Reline up the bottom edge, mount it into place, cut the front edge. After we cut the front edge, we're gonna roll it down. After we cut some excess off here. And then we can go ahead and cut the top edge. Mount the top in place. Give it the old cut-a-roo. And then we'll clean up our edges using the gold card as a straight edge. Create radiuses on the bottom corners as well. Then we can mount it on the top. 1 inch from the top, overhanging on the front. You always want it to overhang on the pillar. Mount the top in place, wipe the top edge of the glass, do our spray squeegee spray. Notice how I'm wiping the blade after each stroke to remove any contamination. And then down the front edge, flush down the front, across the bottom, and mist in the center, and then grab the film. Peel the liner, mist it up a little bit. And just like the front door, we're gonna drop the front corner in first. key is to keep that left hand away. Get that top corner in. Position it into place. Try not to hit the pillars as much as possible. And try not to let the top overhang as much as you can. Once we have it somewhat into position, what I like to do with the rear doors is push on the tops and see if it shifts to a point where you get a light gap. If it does, shift it and cover that light gap, and then do that again. Make sure you don't get a light gap on the other side. That way you're compensated with material on both sides enough so that you won't ever get a light gap down the road. Start squeegeeing into place with soft squeegee strokes to get it to tack. It did shift a little bit, so let's reline it up. Check that shift again, and then we'll mist it up and do harder squeegee strokes this time. Down the sides. Then I'll take my gray lid coat card, push into the top side sections just to get the water out if there is any in those areas. Then we'll wrap it in the blue huck towel and then push out the top with the heat gun. Once that's mounted nicely and it's not moving at all, you feel like it's pretty warm and tacked up, we'll roll the window up, spray the lower section, and just like the front door, squeegee out that lower section. Then we'll go down the sides with the Easy Reach, and then we'll seal the bottom with the gray lid coat card and the heat gun. Easy Reach. Light mist of water to lubricate the gray lid coat card. Seal that bottom edge up with the heat. Shrink any tiny fingers that could pop up. Give it a quick wipe down. We'll jump right into the rear quarter glass window. So to do this rear quarter glass window, we can cut it exactly into place. As you can see, the inside gasket, this inside gasket right here sits higher than the outside gasket by about 1/8 of an inch, give or take. So we have plenty of room, and this is loose enough so we can cut this exactly to size and shift it up slightly to compensate for any light gaps that we might get on the top edge. So you don't have to shift this one at all. We're just going to cut it into place nice and tight. Place that on there, mount it into place. Pick the side to start. I'm going to start on the top. Make sure your blade's at a 45-degree angle and you're only pushing a little bit of blade out, and do one straight edge at a time. Don't try to turn and continue. That'll reduce the errors. Ripping away as you go. Do this bottom edge. I had a little bit of an error here. Since I did make a mistake, and you can see right here, I'm just going to recut this one for you guys so you don't deal with any complications in this video. But what happened was the film was in place, and I noticed some tension. The film was actually grabbing onto this piece of trim here, pulling it away from the window, causing the razor to cut it higher than it should have been. That's why I always run my finger in and make sure that it's in there. But this is a pretty deep channel, so pay close attention to that bottom edge. Let's recut that really quick. Make sure that film is down into that channel. Get into the front or rear corner. Work my way across. Much better cut there. We'll go ahead and cut the front edge. Being very careful not to cut the rubber gaskets. Let's follow up by removing this, which can be tricky because you just mounted it and it's exactly in place. But just push on one of the sides, it'll release. What I'm going to do is just clean up these corners with a nice tight radius, trying to match the factory edge. And you can see here a little piece of rubber. Make sure you just take this off before you deliver it to the customer. It does happen, but it's no big deal. Just make sure you clean it up before you give it back so a customer doesn't see that. Clean up this bottom front corner. Nice and tight. We're good to go. So what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to show you the easy way to peel the release liner on the quarter glass window. We'll go ahead and mount it here on the door window, and then we'll go inside and do the spray squeegee spray. 3.5 inch squeegee across the top, down the back, wipe the blade sideways, back and forth, just working that contaminated water all the way to the bottom, and then you can lightly mist it up afterwards. Now let's peel the release liner on this. What I'll do is I'll just take my fingernail. If it doesn't peel with my fingernail, I'll do it with my teeth as usual. Peel the liner, mist it up. We can go ahead and grab this. I'll grab the bottom corner very slightly. Lay it on my palm. Walk inside. And the main key here is to get the back edge in first. Work that into place. You're going to get some contact with the sides. It's inevitable to happen, but just try to get that in there quick without touching as much as possible, or with touching as little as possible. Get it into the top edge. Then what we'll do is take the easy reach, open that lower gasket up, pull the film up, allow it to fall into place. Same with the front. And then we'll check it from the outside. So you can see on the outside, we have a little gap on the top here. We can go ahead and lift this up. Check all of our edges. Make sure we have no light gaps from the inside, outside. Once that's good, we're going to heat it up from the outside. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a hot spot so that when you spray soapy water on the inside and tack that first point, the window will be tacked in place and won't move around on you. Since this is a tricky window to squeegee out, it will tend to slide around on you. Feel it from the inside, wait till it gets a little warm. It's good. Now that we have the outside heated up, we'll mist the inside. 3.5 inch. We'll hold it in place with one finger and just give that one solid press, and the film is ready to be completely squeegeed out without moving around. Then we can go around the edges with the easy reach. Into the edges. We do have a slight film lift here. What I do with these is I leave them, I let them sit, tint the rest of the car, and then I come back to them. But I am going to apply a little bit of heat from the outside right now. You can see right there, it looks like a little air bubble. Just needs some heat and to sit for a little bit. And then we can come back to it and push it out. I'll even attempt to push it out right now. Heat it up a little from the inside, outside. Just be very careful when you're heating on the outside not to hit these plastics too much, because they do turn glossy and that's permanent damage to them as a burn. Alright, we got that to lay down. Cool. Now that window's good. We'll give it a quick wipe down and we'll move on to the back window. With the back window, if you guys have watched all my other YouTube or my other vehicle specific videos, I pre-cut the back windows because I don't like to cut on the glass, and I have the plotter and the software, so it's very simple for me to do to avoid cutting on the glass. If you're gonna have to cut on the glass, use a 1/4 inch white vinyl tape, 3M makes it, and you're just gonna put it around the border, and you'll see it in my other videos where I demonstrate cutting on the vinyl tape instead of cutting directly on the glass. But I have a pre-cut. It's gonna be the same exact method, very easy to cut a window. I'm still gonna show you how to shrink it and install it, so let's get to that. Let's lay that pre-cut out. When you're using a pre-cut, all you have to do is line it up as close as possible. That way you get as accurate of a shrink as you can. Mount the H pattern. Even out the fingers. Now let's go ahead and shrink this up really quick. Now, if you guys are wondering why I'm shrinking this so fast, it's because I have another video to teach you exactly how to shrink. So just look at my rear windshield videos if you need to learn how to shrink rear windows. But these videos are specifically made to go over specific things with specific vehicles and go in exact detail with that. So let's finish this up really quick. All right, now we have this entire window shrunk. Let's go inside, do the inside prep, and we'll grab this from the outside and do Frankenstein installation. So with this Nissan Altima, we can go ahead and take the rear brake light out simply by pressing in the center. You may need to use a gasket jamming stick, white stick, in the middle. Pop it up, pull it back, twist it sideways. When you go and take the plug out of this light, you can simply just twist the light like so within the housing and it'll pop out, and then you can go ahead and get easier access to the plug, which is very tight. Tuck this wire down, go ahead and mist it up, scrub it with the blue scrub pad and the scrubber across the bottom, wipe it down with the blue Huck towel, then we'll do our spray squeegee spray. Do a spray squeegee spray. Flush out the bottom, and mist across the center and the rest of the window. Let's go grab the material from the outside and lay it inside. Peel our release liner. Mist it up really nice. We'll grab the material and Frankenstein install. Hands over the headrests. Very straightforward, just like any other rear window install. Get the bottom edge lined up nice and evenly. Work it into place. And just obviously you want to work it to where you have no light gaps. Once we have it in place, we'll mist it up. We'll use our hands to glide over the film, work it on the air pockets, so that when you squeegee, it's nice and consistent. Then we can go ahead and squeegee this into place. Just like any other back window, starting 5 inches from the top, from the center out, and then push out the top. And same for the other side. Side swiper across the bottom, from the center out. And we'll finish off with the bulldozer. Now we can give the window a quick wipe down. I'll push the top edge out really quick with the yellow turbo wrapped in the blue Huck towel, just to make sure there's no water residue that can drip into the material between the film and the glass. Then we can go ahead and reinstall the brake light. You can take it out of the housing, plug it on, and then just maneuver the actual brake light back into place. Make sure it clicks in. Then you can twist it and push it into place. It's a lot easier to plug the brake light in with the actual light outside of the housing. I have a little air bubble here. All right, this back window looks good. Let's follow up and reinstall the weather strippings, and this car will be done. With the back door, all you have to do is pull back on the back, put the weather strip back on the channel, slide it forward, push down evenly across it. Make sure the clips are lined up. Once they're lined up, you can pop them back into place. Reinstall the 10mm that's behind the handle here. Reinstall the cover with the front part in first, and then push the back in. And we'll do the same exact thing for the front door, pulling away on the back of the door panel, or the front, since the Front door opens all the way. Make sure it's nice and snug down. Line up our clips. Pop them back into place. 10mm back into the handle, as well as the cover. Front end first. The back falls into place. Lock the windows. Good to go. Alright guys, that is how you tint all the side windows and the rear window on the 2020 Nissan Altima. Make sure you like this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.